What's up? And what's happening, Auburn fans? And welcome into the Thursday night edition of Auburn Primetime Live. We're doing a prediction for the Auburn Tigers and the Kentucky Wildcats Saturday night inside of Jordan-Hare Stadium. Hopefully, the Auburn Tigers can improve to 2-4 in the Southeastern Conference and get above 500 overall at 5-4. So, we want to start with obviously where we were at last night. Who do we think is going to be the quarterback first out for the Auburn Tigers? And I do think that is Ashton Daniels. So when I look at what does this Auburn offense need to do, and I take a glance over at Kentucky and their defensive side of the football, and I see a defense that is ranked, I believe, 87th in the country, if I'm not mistaken, 87th, 88th in the country, somewhere along those lines. And they have trouble stopping the run. They give up almost 150 yards a game on the ground. The back end, the secondary is suspect. Tennessee threw it all over them, put up tons of points. Now, Tennessee is one of the better offenses in the country. But there's plays to be made for the Auburn Tigers out there, and I think I think you got to give your guys a shot, like Perry Thompson and Eric Singleton Jr., maybe Cam Coleman if he's out there. But I really think that Auburn needs to continue what they have been doing, especially last week, and that is put the ball into Jeremiah Cobb's hands. And I do think. Omar Mabson is going to get some touches. I do think the Robinson kid's going to get some touches, and I don't know how they're going to split those up. But like we were kind of talking about last night, is you want to see Cobb get into that 20 range, and then you can kind of Darrell Robinson and Omar Mabson. There's probably 10 or so carries right there. You however you want to split those up, maybe one guy gets 7, another guy gets 4 or 5. But you want Jeremiah Cobb with the workload and slipping him out of the backfield in the screen game, getting him out in space, things like that. I want to see I want to see Ashton Daniels work over the middle of the field, get Singleton over the middle of the field. Um, Things like that. I want this offense to come out clicking, get the ball out of his hands, get him comfortable, get him confident, and see if they can stay hot on the first drive of the game. Now, a bunch of people say that is why that they would start Jackson Arnold. That is because he has scored the past couple weeks on the first drive, and there's some confidence there, and he's just got to put a full 4 quarters together. And I know I sound like a broken record. I went on WNSP today, 105.5 radio station here in Mobile, and they asked me, you know, who do you think should start? And I just told them, I said, I'm tired of hearing about the confidence side of it. I think the guy that looks sharper, better decision making, uh, quicker release, quicker timing, getting the ball out. He was early, not late. I think that's who should go, and I think that's who's going to help this Auburn offense move the football up and down the field on this Kentucky defense, which is, like we just said, lackluster. And they're a bad football team. Let's call it how it is. And I don't. I'm not saying Auburn's just that much better, but let's be honest. The roster for the Auburn Tigers is in a much better spot. You're just lacking offense because this Auburn defense is one of the best in the country. And when I look at Kentucky's offense, now they did open it up last week and put up a lot of points. They put up a 30 burger on Tennessee, and they were kind of throwing it a little bit more than what I've seen them do in the past couple years and even this year. So they're true fresh. I believe he's a true freshman, maybe a redshirt freshman, but I'm pretty sure he's a true freshman. I think he threw 5 touchdowns last week. So pretty impressive kid, gutsy. Zach Calzada does not start for the Kentucky Wildcats. I don't think he started since week 1, to be honest. So this kid, he's kind of feeling it. right now, and I don't think Tennessee's defense is anywhere close to what Auburn puts on the table. So I do think this is a mismatch for the Kentucky Wildcats. They want to run the football, but this is a top five rush defense in the country. This is a defense that is led by Keldrick Falk up front, and I just think it's going to be tough sledding. With Malik Blockton in there, and Keldrick and those guys, and the Crawfords, and we could keep going on and on down the list, man. Jamison Travis, all those cats up front are absolutely eating for the Auburn Tigers right now. So I really think that is a bad matchup for Kentucky, because Auburn is okay with letting them drop back and throw the football because of your DBs right now. And after week one, we were kind of like, man, these defensive backs, like, we're lost right now. Well, like, we thought this was going to be a strong, confident room, guys that could play man, and you're okay with those guys being on an island out there, and going best on best. And I don't think Kentucky has the wideouts to really compete with Auburn's DBs. And I just don't think Auburn is scared of what Kentucky's gonna put in front of them. That's what I should say. I don't think Auburn fears Kentucky's wideouts. I don't think they fear Kentucky beating them over the top, and having big chunk plays. I think this Auburn defense is going to make Kentucky drive the length of the field and try to put together those 9, 10, 11 play drives, and then they still maybe only get 3 out of it. I think that's kind of demoralizing on an offense, is when you do put together those big long drives and you go the length of the field, and then you stall out and kick a field goal, kind of like Auburn, man. You can't you can't, once you get in the red zone, you can't stall out, and Auburn just finds a way to whether it's a penalty, or you call 3rd and 6 in overtime with Missouri. uh, I still don't get that play call, but that's part of it for Auburn's stalling issues in the red zone, is play calling. Hugh Freeze, I don't know. I don't understand it. It's great in between the 20s. It's great in between the 20s. But once we get inside the red area, it's a struggle. I don't know if it's because the field shrinks, and you don't really trust your quarterback a whole lot to make that tight throw. Once again, I think that's more of Ashton for me. That's why I want him in there, because I don't think he's scared to fit it into that window. And I think Jackson just, we've said it before, is he wants to be perfect so bad that he's just scared to let it rip, and have that dog mentality. Just have that it about him. And I think Ashton is one of those guys that he's just a gamer, and he'll go out there, and if he throws a pick, he'll shake it off and be like, okay, next drive. And so um, that's got to be better Saturday night. That has to be much better. I think you have to score touchdowns if you're Auburn. Settling for 3, if you're Auburn, will make this a really close football game. I do think it's going to be pretty close. Maybe Auburn covers late, but you have to find a way to get 6. So special teams, I think special teams has to continue to make improvements. Last week they were awesome, man. Block punt. Alex 6 for 6, made all of his kicks, man. Just a big time bounce back performance. But kick return was pretty solid. I feel like that was the big energy play out of half, and Rayshawn returning that kick, putting us in plus territory. Maybe we see some more of that. There really weren't any penalties last week. Hudson Cock, has been playing better, punting the football better. And I think we need to improve on that and take a step forward in our special teams, which has let us down numerous times over the past couple of years. And it's not just been one game here or there. It's been a multiple games where special teams has cost Auburn a time or two. So really want to see that. But y'all, when I look at Auburn and Kentucky, I think SEC Mike posted a stat where Kentucky's only won like one road game in the past 2 seasons, and I think Auburn's only won like one P4 game or two P4 games at home in the past 2 seasons or something crazy like that. So this is going to be a game of two programs that are struggling, two programs that both coaches are on the hot seat, two programs that desperately need a win, And the reason I say this about Auburn and desperately needing that win is because, yes, you're 4-4, right? But you still want to have the opportunity to play in a bowl game, and you're still playing for Auburn. You're playing for the name across the front of the chest. And I saw today people were like, well, what are you still playing for? You're not going to the college football playoff. Your season's over, but your season's not over because you still got 4 games left. And I think we all know you're playing for pride, one, but two, you're playing for draft stock. Do NFL scouts find something on tape of you in one of these 4 games? You're playing for your teammates, your brothers, the guys that you go to practice with, blood, sweat, and tears. You're playing for your coach, man, a guy that I'm sure a lot of these kids don't want to see get let go. You're playing for your fan base that's struggling right now. I'll tell you, I said I was on WNSP earlier, and I got asked closing out the show, and I know we play basketball tonight, but I got asked, "Hey, how are you feeling about basketball season as an Auburn fan? How do you think Auburn fans feel about basketball season?" And we still have 4 games left in football. And I was like, man, I kind of hate getting asked that because it's still football season, and I know basketball starts in a week, but it's still football season, and I love basketball to death. It's one of my favorite sports. But I wish Auburn was a little different on the gridiron. And then when that wrapped up, we could turn our attention to basketball, full steam ahead. But my answer was, yeah, man. I mean, we're going to be great. We're talented. Stephen Pearl's going to make the transition, I believe, to being a pretty solid head coach. I think he's going to get after it on the recruiting trail. You've already seen him pick up a high school commit. I think he's got an athletic team, need a little help on defense. And, I was like, it's going to be exciting times in Neville Arena. I think this fan base needs some wins. They need to feel it. Well, you could feel that Saturday night by beating Kentucky and taking care of a team that you should beat. That would put you above 500. That would put you in position to beat Mercer and at least get to that 6-win mark and get to a bowl game. Now, I know that sounds terrible, and that's not the standards of Auburn football, but it looks much better than 3-4 just 2 weeks ago, right? I mean, we were sitting here talking about, this was the end, it was over, and here we are. Like Hugh Freeze stayed another week. If you win this game, he's going to stay another week. Then you go into the bye week. You get 2 weeks to prepare for Diego Pavia and this Vanderbilt Commodore team. Now, if they beat Texas Saturday, you're more than likely going to go into Nashville, and it's going to be a top 10 opponent. They have all the playoff hopes, the aspirations, set Vanderbilt history. And if you're clueless about that series, go look up the all-time record. You don't want to drop that one. You don't want to drop that one, I can tell you that. So everything, they say, well, what are you playing for? Everything's still on the table for Auburn. Coming into the season, we said 8 wins, but that's still on the table because you only got 4 losses right now. You just got to win out, and you meet that goal. Is that going to happen? I doubt it. I doubt Auburn wins out. Still got to play Vanderbilt and Alabama. Do I think Auburn can beat Vanderbilt? Yes. Do I think the Iron Bowl is the greatest rivalry in sports and anything can happen in that football game? Yes. We've seen it multiple times. There's still opportunity for this Auburn football team, and it starts Saturday night. It starts Saturday night. I think I think it starts also with your head coach, and we're going to see what the tone is coming out when starting lineups are announced. We're going to see what kind of atmosphere Jordan Hare Stadium is like. Does he go back to Jackson or does he announce Ashton? That could tell a lot, folks. That could set the mood in the stadium. That could set the mood in the stadium. So I'm really excited about Auburn in this football game, this matchup against Kentucky. I think Auburn should win this football game. Uh, me personally, I think Auburn should cover this 10-point spread. I think it might be 10.5. I think Auburn should cover. I think you are better than Kentucky. You get them at home at night. You should beat Kentucky and cover this spread. And if you don't, that's a red flag to me. You know, a lot of people last week said, well, Auburn did go beat Arkansas, but that still didn't erase the red flags for us with Hugh Freeze. If Auburn doesn't cover this spread and beat Kentucky and you're at home, you're a double-digit favorite, that's not erasing the red flags for me. I got asked today on WNSP, what would erase the red flags for you? I said, yeah, man, it'd take a lot. But I really feel like if you could win these next 3, some things might change with everything else that's going on around the country. I really think it would change a lot of what's going on around the country. And I I just noticed that was an Alabama banner. Wow. I guess I clicked on the wrong one. Uh, but I really think that would change some things. You look at a candidate right now. Let's be honest. We look at a candidate right now. John Summerall. Everybody's been on this John Summerall to Auburn. John Summerall to Auburn. We got to go get John Summerall. Hire him right now. Oh, he just got beat by 30 at UTSA. It might have ended. I didn't watch the end of it, but it might have been closer, a little bit closer than that. I think they put up almost 50 points on him. And I know you can't really go off of that, and you can't say, oh, well, this game, that game. But we're so quick to jump the gun and be like, hire this guy, hire that guy. Does Auburn end up just keeping Hugh if they win these next 3 games? That's what we talked about today on the radio. Because who's out there that you're gonna get? That's where we're at right now. I know there's still a ways to go, and there's still a lot of things that could play out. But it just seems like a lot right now. It just seems like a lot. What's up, Brad? How we doing, man? Ernest, what's up, brother? Oh, you're good, man. You're good. I get that it's late, brother. I get that it's late. Dang, I'm late, Brad. It's okay, brother. At least you made it. At least you made it. I think he might already have his next job picked out. Wow. Maybe LSU. It does seem like a lot of times when guys they start getting heat on next jobs, their team comes out the following week and they're just not focused. Not focused. Good evening, War Damn Eagle fam. Auburn Dad, what is up, my guy? Glad you were in here. Only if he wins out, DJ would be good candidate to be head coach and keep some players. Yeah, I just, I think Daryl Dappridge said that it might have. Don't quote me on this. It might have been him. I think it was somebody involved with the barn or locked on or something. But I think they said that with Auburn not firing Hugh after Missouri, it kind of felt like, do they really want DJ Durkin to be the next guy? I can't remember who said that, but do they really want DJ to be the next guy? Because I was calling for his head after Missouri. I'll be honest with you, everybody that watches this show knows I was on him because I feel like Auburn and Missouri are two completely different programs, and we should not be losing to Missouri at home the way we did. And enough is enough. I'd had enough at that point, and I just you gotta make moves these next couple of weeks. If you're Hugh Freeze, you have to win football games. I think if you let Hugh go, Durkin is literally the only person that makes sense. And at this point, you're probably right, Brad and Auburn Dad. You're probably right that I don't think you could go anywhere else. And that's kind of my point of everybody's like, oh well, Summerall or Eli Drinkwitz or people keep even saying Lane Kiffin. I'm like, that ship is sailed. It's not going to happen. But in reality, if you let Hugh go, the guy's right here on your staff already, and you probably retain a lot of your roster. Not everybody. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't know. The more and more it sounds is like we're going to be stuck with Hugh another year. And now, if he loses to Kentucky, obviously, I mean, I think you got to pull the plug if he loses to Kentucky. Me personally, I think he's got to win Vanderbilt. I think you got to win Vanderbilt too, at least. At least. If LSU or Florida gets Franklin, that's going to be a problem in my opinion. Uh, yeah, and I think James Franklin is probably going to get an SEC job. I don't think the Virginia Tech stuff is real. I'm not believing that smoke. I'm not believing that hype. I just think he's going to find his way into the Southeastern Conference. And I'm interested to see if Lane Kiffin leaves. I'm interested to see if Sark leaves. That's why I'm saying is like if Sark goes to the NFL, man, like there's so many dominoes that fall after that. Where does that put Auburn? We're kind of stuck right now. We're kind of stuck. That's why I'm nervous. That's why I think you need to go make a statement against Kentucky and beat the piss out of them, cover the spread, get some momentum, go into the bye week healthy, rest up, prepare to go take Diego Pavia down. Go take him down, man. You haven't been able to do it. Hugh Freeze, you're over against him. Go find a way, brother. Go get it done one time. And then I think this football team could have real confidence going into Mercer, which I don't care who plays quarterback. I think you should be able to handle Mercer. The talent gap there is absolutely insane. I do think Mercer is a damn good football team, but you better take care of that one. And then you get the Iron Bowl. I saw an article saying the rumor is that Florida's figure for Kiffin is 81 million. I don't know, Brad. I read that same thing, and I think that's a guy just. I think he was just jibber jabbering and made something up. Do you think you lose Womack? I don't know, brother. Womack's the DC at Alabama. I think I'll say this. I'm not an Alabama fan, but I think Kane Womack is playing himself into a head coaching position. I'm not sure if it's in the SEC, but I think he could find himself at another program. I don't know if he would be interested in like a UCLA or anything like that, but I do think Kane could find himself in a head coaching job. Or maybe Beamer gets outed at South Carolina, and that's a oh, you're talking about the recruit, Braylon. Okay, okay, okay. I thought you were talking about Kane, the DC. Um it's tough to say, man. It's tough to say because right now those quotes and everything, the quotes of him coming out and saying that Auburn, you got to score more than 20 points. And then he went on there and made his statement and said, look, I just care about the program. And I'm cool with that. That right there shows me that you're being straight up, you're being honest. And I think that is what high school recruiting is all about. I don't want you to beat around the bush with me. I want you to be real with me. I want you to be authentic and let me know what needs to change. And right now, with a talented kid like him, why would you want to come to Auburn's offense? Why? I'm being dead serious. Why? Because all we heard over the summer was Eric Singleton Jr. and Cam Coleman, like they're coming to change this offense. Like Eric Singleton Jr. is coming to team up with Malcolm Simmons and Cam Coleman to change this offense. The offense has gotten worse. The offense has gotten worse. So why wouldn't you want to go to an Ole Miss right now, who took a D2 quarterback? Talking about missed evals, let's talk about hitting an evaluation. Lane Kiffin took a D2 national championship quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, and they're absolutely spinning the rock over there. Don't he play wide receiver though? He plays both ways, don't he? But so you you got to think like guys, they look at these coaching situations, right? They look at these coaching situations, and some of these cats, when they get asked questions, they want to come out and say, "Oh, well, I really had a fun time. I really enjoyed the visit. I really want things to change." And he just come out and said, "Hey, like I want Auburn to win games. This head coach, like we have to get things figured out because your defense has it figured out. Your top, what is Auburn, 29th in the country? You're 29th in the country in total defense, I believe. I don't know if it's been updated or not, but you're fifth in rush defense. You're holding teams double digits below their season average. Arkansas was putting up like 30, 37 a game, 35 a game, and they scored 17 on you. And he's sitting here going, "Oh, if we can't score, like what do we we're not winning games because we can't score. Why would I want to come play in this system where we're holding teams to 20 points and we're losing by double digits?" Like, I don't get. I don't, Auburn is they're killing themselves on the offensive side of the ball. And I'll be honest with you, I'll be straight up with you. I think Auburn is wasting a national championship type of defense, and Hugh Freeze is letting this go by the wayside because you're still so invested in the RPO. I've said that multiple times. I said it on Up Tempo. I think the RPO is outdated, and I had a guy say, "Well, it's not a playbook," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's not a playbook, but it's a play. It's a read, and you watch the read in the Arkansas game." And Jackson, I'll be honest with you, that is almost impossible. He was put in a terrible situation on that throw, on that pick six, and he got baited. And it's just a bad system. Look at Peyton Thorne last year. The RPOs to Cam across the middle, they can never get in sync. And we keep running them and we keep running them. And it's bad offense. It's just not for me. And I think it's outdated. I think Hugh's got to go find somebody. And if you don't, you're going to have players decommit. You're going to have players decommit. Why would you want to come to Auburn right now? Honestly, I mean, I know kids, they love Auburn. I know one here in this city loves Auburn. But it's got to be tough, man. This defense puts their heart and soul into every game. I honestly feel terrible for them each and every game because they're putting it on the line and this offense can't muster 24 points a game. Truly sad. Truly, truly sad. So, with that being said, y'all, I'm going to end it here, get out of here. My final prediction for Auburn and Kentucky. I think Auburn wins this one. Man, I think Auburn wins this one. Give me 27. I'm going to say Auburn wins 27-13. I think that's the final. I think Auburn, once again, the defense wins, plays well, creates a couple turnovers, maybe gives your offense some short fields to work with, and Auburn finds a way to get it done and to move to 5-4 and 2-4 in the Southeastern Conference. So, catch y'all Sunday. Hopefully it's big win vibes and we can get in here and have a little fun with it and not be so hurt, right? So thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. War Damn Eagle. I'm out. See y'all Sunday.